Restaurant coworker kept stealing my tips until she found out who my dad was. I worked nights at Bella Vista, an upscale Italian place, to pay for nursing school. The money was decent, but my coworker Ashley made every shift a nightmare. Ashley was the type of server who thought she deserved the best tables. She'd sweet-talk the hostess into seating wealthy customers in her section, while I got teenagers and cranky seniors. But her real specialty was tip theft. Ashley would hover around my tables during busy nights, swooping in the moment customers left cash on the table. "Oh, I'll clean this up for you," she'd say, pocketing my tips before I could collect them. When I confronted her, she'd act innocent. "Are you sure that was your table?" The manager Tony loved Ashley because she flirted with him and brought in good sales, mostly by stealing everyone else's customers and tips. Things escalated when Ashley started intercepting credit card tips, telling customers I was new and learning, then processing payments through her own number. I was losing $200–300 a week while struggling to pay tuition. The breaking point came when I served 8 businessmen celebrating a promotion. After their meal, the host handed me a $100 bill. "This is for you specifically." I went to secure the money. When I returned, Ashley was clearing their table with a smug smile. "What happened to my tip?" I asked. "What tip?" she said innocently. "They must have stiffed you. Rich guys are the worst tippers sometimes." I knew she'd taken it, but I couldn't prove anything without causing a scene. That's when I decided to call my dad. What Ashley didn't know was that my father was Detective Lieutenant Mike Romano, head of fraud division. "Hey Dad, if someone was systematically stealing tips at work, what would that be?" "Theft by deception. Probably petty larceny." "Why?" I explained Ashley's schemes. Dad went quiet. "Why don't I come have dinner at your restaurant tomorrow night?" The next evening, Dad showed up with his partner Detective Williams, both off-duty but carrying themselves like cops. I seated them in Ashley's section and watched her turn on the charm. "Welcome to Bella Vista. I'm Ashley, and I'll be taking excellent care of you tonight." They ordered appetizers, expensive entrees, and a bottle of wine. Throughout the meal, I watched Ashley give them her full attention, the kind of service she usually reserved for her tip-stealing schemes. When they finished, Dad placed 2 20s on the table. "Outstanding service, keep the change." Ashley went to collect the money, but Dad had placed his business card under one bill. Minutes later, Ashley rushed over, pale. "Sir, I think you left this by mistake," holding up his detective card. Dad smiled calmly. "No mistake, Detective Lieutenant Romano, Fraud Division. And this is my partner, Detective Williams." Ashley's hands started shaking. I don't understand. "That server over there is my daughter," Dad said, pointing to me. "She's told me some interesting stories about tip distribution practices here." Ashley's eyes went wide as she realized she'd just tried her usual charm routine on a cop whose daughter she'd been stealing from for months. "Now," Dad continued, "I'm here off duty, just enjoying dinner with my partner. But if certain patterns of theft were to continue, well, that might require a more official visit." Ashley mumbled something about misunderstandings and hurried away. From that night on, Ashley's behavior changed completely. She stopped stealing tips, avoided my tables, and actually started being polite to other servers. But the real change came 2 weeks later when Tony announced Ashley had decided to pursue other opportunities and wouldn't be returning. Turns out Dad had mentioned to Tony that restaurants with theft problems sometimes faced health department scrutiny and other regulatory headaches. Tony decided it was easier to find a new server than deal with potential police attention. My tips immediately doubled without Ashley's interference. I graduated nursing school debt-free 6 months later. Ashley tried texting me once after she left, apologizing and asking if we could start fresh. I replied with a simple message: some lessons stick better when they come from the right teacher. Sometimes having family in law enforcement isn't about getting special treatment. It's about making sure everyone follows the same rules.